Hello, hello, and welcome back to the club. I'm Ashlyn, one of your hosts, and I'm here with my very best girlfriend, Miss Katie Cooper Hoyt. How you doing,
Yes,
Katie?
I'm doing fantastic, Ash. It's been kind of a crazy process to get to where we are today, but I do want to just address that this is the second time that we're recording this podcast because I am the world's biggest dumbass. So, yeah, if you're kind of picking up on a vibe that things are a little off, it's because we've already said all of this before.
Yeah, so
So,
if anything feels like we rehearsed it, it's because we said it and thought it was funny enough that we had to re-say it, and we didn't want y'all to miss out on any of our comedic value.
100%.
That would just be it would be a disservice to everyone listening. But the good thing is, hopefully, it'll be quicker this
Yes.
time
Yes.
because we have already hashed all this out and
Yes.
kind of have a grip on our thoughts about
Yes.
everything. But this is our second record of this episode, but it's up on YouTube. So if you guys are interested in watching on like full video, we
Yes.
will be uploading it to YouTube. So if you want to switch over, now would be the time.
Mhm.
This is our episode on Crescent City 2, and our March book is Crescent City 3. So this is
Mhm.
wrapping up our last 2 months of Sarah J. Maas material, which is absolutely insane.
Absolutely insane. It's been a long time coming. This, we probably don't need to preface at this point, but if you have not read ACOTAR, please do not listen to this episode until you do so. There will be lots of references and
Potential spoilers
yes,
for ACOTAR.
absolutely. So please do yourself a favor, read ACOTAR. If you haven't read it yet, like, what are you doing?
If you
That's
haven't read it yet, why are you here?
completely agree, and I don't want to say that having also read Throne of Glass is, like, in the same level, but, like, if you haven't read Throne of Glass, like, probably a pretty good idea to
Yeah, I think right now, if you're on Crescent City, it's not gonna ruin anything for you to not have the background knowledge of Throne of Glass, but just to
Mhm.
be a well-rounded Sarah J. Maas stan, you have to have read her entire collected work.
Completely agree, and while we're on that topic, let's talk about Throne of Glass. Let's talk about, the reading order. So this is something that Ashlyn and I have previously spoken about and have been quite vocal and quite adamant that
That we are right.
and not to, like, brag, but, like, it's been confirmed.
100% confirmed that we're correct.
Yes. So, if you don't know, Sarah J. Maas came out and stated publicly that the reading order is Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, then Assassin's Blade, not Assassin's Blade first, and I just have to say, what the fuck is wrong with you if you're reading Assassin's Blade first? Like, I get it that on Goodreads it says point 0.5 because it is a prequel, but that's not how she wrote it. That's not how it was designed.
No, right. So, in the creative process, she decided after those two that she was writing that she needed a prequel, so she wrote it. And publication order, to me, always trumps everything else. It doesn't
100%.
matter if there's a whole entire completed prequel series, I will still read them
Mhm.
in publication order. So, like, main series, prequel kind of comes in
Mhm.
with publication. And that's just how I've always thought it's supposed to go. And it seems like Sarah J agrees with us.
Yeah.
Shocker, fucking shocker. No one over here on this camp is surprised, but the TikTokers are probably shook because I have seen so many TikToks on this exact topic saying, if you want to do the romantic reading order, which what the fuck does that
Oh
mean?
my god, no.
They're putting Throne of Glass first. I'm like,
No,
okay,
second. Putting Throne of Glass second.
no, they're saying romantic, and they're still
Oh,
putting
oh, oh, oh,
Assassin's Blade. I'm like,
yes.
no, this is just the reading order. There's
Yes.
no like weird spin or take.
Yes.
This is the reading order. And then they're putting publication order and putting
Mhm.
Assassin's Blade first. I'm like, you're talking about chronology. You're not talking about publication.
Exactly. I've seen TikToks of girls being like, "Sarah J. Maas has spoken," and they, like, go over to their bookshelf, and they move Assassin's Blade from 1st to 3rd, and it's like, "What are you talking like, who"
Who told you that it should be first?
seriously, that's what I wanna know.
And to the people who didn't know about any of this going in and were misled to read Assassin's Blade first, I'm so sorry
Yes.
because I can only imagine the heartbreak to not only experience what happens at the end of Assassin's Blade without having the foreshadowing, but also to be wrong now.
Hun
Sucks.
because if you don't have that perspective, you're like, "No, this is the way it's supposed to be read." You're wrong, and
You're
it's not your fault that you are wrong, but, like, now you live in that world,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
sorry.
So if anyone has any other questions about Throne of Glass reading, we're here. We're happy to help. I cannot recommend the tandem read enough. If you, especially if you have a Kindle, it makes it super easy. I had physical books, and so I didn't do tandem read because it just seemed like a little bit daunting. The nausea I feel looking back,
I
regretting that
cannot
decision,
I
it
cannot
just
even
makes your life so much
imagine.
better.
So it's Tower of Dawn,
And
Empire
Empire
of
of
Storms. Okay,
Storms.
I literally cannot imagine because you're supposed to read Tower
Empire
of
of
Dawn.
Storms.
Oh, then
Then Tower. No
bitch.
way. No chance. It was so bad.
That's traumatic,
Yeah.
especially well, I won't get into the details, but, like, having to take a break from Empire of Storms to read specifically Tower of Dawn, you're kidding.
No, it was awful. It was awful. No spoilers, but just don't do it.
Yeah.
If you can muster up the courage to do it with your hardbacks or your paperbacks, whatever, and just like there's guides online you can go through and like pre-bookmark
Yes.
when to flip back and forth
Yes.
because it will save you a headache and a half.
Completely agree. Sure, it takes you a lot longer because you're literally reading 2 books at the same time, so,
Mhm.
like, it'll take you a while to get through. Totally worth it. I did the tandem read. Now, there are some tandem reads that are, like, psychotic. Get you one that they end roughly around the same time, like, you only have, like, a few chapters left. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to end with Empire of Storms. There's, like, maybe, like, 5 or 6 chapters at the end of the tandem, Empire of Storms. Get yourself that tandem, outline from online, and you'll be golden.
Yeah. So anyways, moral of that story, we're right and Sarah J Maas says that we're right. And that's that on that. So if you're ready, we can dive right into our actual book. Again, we're gonna skip over the author biography because we talked about her with Akatar. Not really much to say about her, but I will go ahead and read the book synopsis, and then we'll jump into our character lineup. Okay, so the book synopsis is as follows. Bryce Quinlan and Hunt Athalar are trying to get back to normal. They may have saved Crescent City, but with so much upheaval in their lives lately, they mostly want a chance to relax, slow down, figure out what the future holds. The Asteri have kept their word so far, leaving Bryce and Hunt alone. But with the rebels chipping away at the Asteri's power, the threat the rulers pose is growing. As Bryce, Hunt, and their friends get pulled into the rebels' plans, the choice becomes clear. Stay silent while others are oppressed, or fight for what's right. And they've never been very good at staying silent.
Okay, gorgeous.
Love that. I have no notes for that.
No, I love that she just kinda tells you, like, "This is where we left off, and this is, like, vaguely what's looming," but she doesn't go into too much detail.
She doesn't say, like, the best friend dies.
Mm, she doesn't give away the plot of the story in the first sentence of the synopsis. Yeah. Not
Perfect.
great
Yeah.
on the first go round. The
Hmm.
second time, she's
Yeah,
got
no,
it
she
right.
knocked it out of the park with that
Mhm.
review. I mean, with that synopsis. So we have nothing bad to say. Wow, go
Look at
us.
us.
So for the character lineup, there are literally a million characters in this book.
Mhm.
It is so crazy. So we're just gonna kind of parse down as much as we did already parse down as much as we could, and we're gonna try to go over the ones that we already talked about in Crescent City 1 episode first, so that we can kind of
Yeah.
talk more about the new characters because those are the ones that make the story change so
Yeah.
much. But we can go ahead and start with Bryce, our HBIC.
Okay. What were
Um,
your thoughts?
I like her more in this book. For some reason, I liked her in the first book, don't get me wrong, but in this book, I feel like she develops a lot more because she's powerful, maybe.
100%.
Could that be why?
100%.
Yeah. I think she kind of steps into her own character. She's not really as reliant on other people. But one thing that she does that kind of pisses me off is she bulldozes a lot of the plans.
Totally.
like, won't tell anybody shit, and then just, like, randomly they have to find out that she had a plan all along
Yeah.
because she's dragged like, the scene where her and Hunt are like, "We're gonna go to the gym for a second," and then she drags him to the meat market.
And, like, why did that need to be a secret?
Mm, I don't know. So the things that she decides to keep secret are so puzzling to me,
Mhm.
mainly because I get, like, there was, like, who was all at her house? Ethan, Therian, Cormac,
Yeah.
the u Rune, the usual.
Yeah.
They are on a in a rebellion with
Right.
you.
They already know. There's not like, the whole shit with Emile, they already know
That we're
that.
searching for him, what
Right.
he like, who he is. They already know so much damning stuff about you that I just feel like one more thing,
Totally.
like, what's the issue with just telling them that one little snippet? Even not even telling them why, but, like, we have business at the meat market.
Totally, and the fact that she kept the Emile thing from Hunt
Specifically Hunt pisses me off.
is crazy, like, of all the people in this whole situation, why? Like, literally, why? And I was so with him when he got pissed off at her.
For the
Duh.
first time in Katie's history of times, she was like, "Hunt could be right."
Oh my god, I literally feel like Bryce is a bulldog with Hunt, and she really needs to. I just feel like they're not evenly matched in the sake of, like, in the sense of, like, he can't keep her at bay. He can't, like, keep her nailed down and kind of, like, level-headed. It's like what she says goes, and he kind of just has to roll along with it. He'll voice, like, "I don't know, I'm not sure about this," and she's
Well, he
like,
didn't even wanna do the rebellion. He was like,
rightfully
"I'm not feeling
so,
like doing a rebellion today, like,
like, already did
I
that,
already did that, and then, like, I
got locked in
just
the
now got this."
dungeon,
Yeah, like, I literally just got my freedom from the what's it called? The
Asteri.
no, 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 what's that little thing he had? The
Oh,
thorn thing on his
yeah,
the halo, the
yeah,
halo.
yeah.
He's like, I just stepped into my full powers. You can't give me 2 days to lay at home."
No. Literally, like, that was the plan, but, of course, Bryce has a savior complex, and
Yes,
so
we definitely hashed out her savior complex, but it comes back in full force.
full force,
Never went away.
like tenfold. Another thing about Bryce is, what's with the teleporting during sex? I wasn't vibing with that. The first time I was like, "Okay, that's cute." The second time I was like,
No, why does it need to like
"Mm-mm."
the first time made sense because it was like, okay, this is proof that she has this power in some capacity, and it was honestly funny because then they were like, okay, well, how do we like figure out how you do it? Because the only way that we've ever done it is during an orgasm. So I get like the humor in that, but then the second time I was like,
Mhm.
okay.
It's not. I didn't want it to be a thing. It was funny the first time that it happened. When it's a thing, I've lost
I
interest.
know, and Sarah J. Maas loves a thing, and I hate a thing.
So true, like, Bryce doesn't need no one needs it. It reminds me of, do you remember in The Serpent and the Wings of Night? This is not a spoiler, but
There
someone
she
keep
is.
what the
One of my
fuck?
friends posted this on her story like 2 days ago. She just read The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and she was
Okay.
like, "If I read There She Is one more time."
I was gonna kill myself. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need it. It's not
yeah,
necessary.
right.
Nobody likes it, but the thing is, like, some people do like it, and those people are not what those people cannot be in the club. I'm
No,
sorry.
y'all are not clubbers. If you enjoy that type of entertainment, you can go to the Kindle Unlimited Club.
Bitch. That's the great value brand.
Literally. Um, so see yourself out. But so in talking about Bryce, because I don't really want to spend a lot of time talking about her dad, but I feel like her dad in this book, even though he's like still really like schemy and snaky, why do I feel like he's onto something?
Completely agree. I feel like he low key, like, maybe he's not a rebel, but is a rebel sympathizer. Like, I feel
He's
like
rebel questioning.
100%. I feel like he all he's asking the hard questions that the rebels are also
He's rebel
asking.
curious.
Completely. He is, and why did I absolutely love it that he just changed her name, was like, "You wanna run around acting like a princess? You finna be one."
That was a slay because he was like, "You can I'm happy to
Mhm.
let you use my name for whatever you want,
Yeah.
um, but you're gonna act like a princess. You're gonna do what I say."
Mhm.
And I really like, this helped tie in Cormac and, like, the rebellion in such a seamless way,
Mhm.
but her being so shook and upset about being a princess didn't really make sense to me because sure, he can tell you to do whatever you want, but, like, look at Rune. Rune hasn't ever followed one command.
And it's not like she's the crown princess, like, it's not like she's going to be taking over the throne, so it's kind of just like,
It's just a title.
and it's like, people literally already know that you're the princess, so
That's how I felt because it already came out that he was her dad. If there was no, uh, like, public knowledge about him
right.
being her sire, as they always say, uh, I would get, like, the her being upset. And then there was, like, a part where her being upset about, like, Randall being her real dad, like, in relation to this, and I'm like, "It really doesn't matter because it doesn't change anything.
Totally.
It's just a name." And
So
now you get to, like, he already gave you permission to, like, use the power.
and the credit
The
card.
credit card the credit card.
So, might as well. Also, with her dad, loved that she just, like, announced their mating, hers and Hunt's mating at the
Oh,
ceremony,
yeah.
and that he was seething over it. He kinda, like, got his, but, like, I kind of stand with the Autumn King on the whole, like, "You're gonna be princess."
No, I agree. I'm on his side in that argument as
Agreed.
well because if she never had done anything to, like, use his name, he wouldn't have made her do it. So,
Exactly. I think I'm ready to befriend the Autumn
I
King.
think so too. I don't know that he's 100% trustworthy, but it does seem like whenever she was asking him, like, what are or I don't remember which one, her or Rune was asking, like, "What are you looking for?" He was like, "The truth. Like, I
Yes.
that's all I want is to figure out what's going on."
Yes.
And so I enjoyed that.
Same.
Another person that I don't know who I if I'm supposed to trust or not, the Princess of Hell.
I'm obsessed with them.
Me too.
I'm so ready for us to be friends.
Me too. I know it has to be coming.
100%. Adis is my everything, and even though, like, he's blonde and we don't really do blonde male main
No, but
characters.
you kinda do.
Okay, that's true. I fucks with a blonde, and I love him.
I really enjoyed all his scenes. I'm pissed that the cat wasn't him.
That scene was so good.
I loved that scene, and then for it to just be the creepiest scary guy.
No, that does not sit right with me because, like, that was, like, a contender for me for favorite scene, and then I
I
had to
know,
drop
and then
it.
it just get ruined.
Mhm.
Do you think that she originally thought it was gonna be Ada's when she wrote the scene and then was like, "Wait, let me go back and, like, make the Asteria, like, more even more meddling than before?"
Maybe.
'Cause he was such a
Because
good scene.
yes, and it's like because I guess she does have to tie in, like, they kind of knew Bryce's plans all
All
along or
along.
were, like, goading her into
Yeah.
these plans all along, so I guess so, but I don't know. I'm sad that it wasn't Adis.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so male main character, Hunt, how are you feeling in terms of forgiving him?
Okay, I feel like definitely we missed an apology, like, there still needed to be
Yeah.
one. I feel so neutral about Hunt. I can take him or leave him. I did, I guess, like him more in this book. I felt like his, like, banter was a little bit more in this book,
I
but
agree. I feel like they went back and forth more, and he was I wonder if it's because there was, like, a friend group this time that he
yeah,
actually trusted because the first book, he was still kinda getting his feet wet with the idea of
so
having a
true,
friend.
so
So now he's like, "Okay, I have these friends that are always at the house with me, and these are my boys, and we can, like, do the boy thing."
yeah.
So I wonder if that kinda brought him out of his shell a bit. I agree. Why did he never, like, apologize? Well, I guess it doesn't pick up, like
I know, but I feel like we deserved a, "Bryce, I'm so sorry. That was really fucked up." Like, I was just
Mhm. Yeah.
vengeful. I don't know. We deserved
Just one
that.
thing, just
Yeah.
explanation,
We didn't
apology.
we didn't get it, and I feel I feel fine. I do really stand by, like, Bryce needs to have a little bit more respect for Hunt, especially if he's her mate, like, please let him balance you.
Right, so that's I enjoyed them actually being mates more than I thought that I would care
Mhm.
because it justifies everything for me, like I said in the last book. Like, if Bryce forgives him, I forgive him, but now to know that they're mates, I'm like, "Okay,
Right.
it's fine." It, like
It has to be water under the bridge because at the end of the day, they have hundreds of years that they're going to be mates.
right.
So,
There's gonna be more water under the bridge eventually.
I would dare to say this is the first of many,
Yes, I
large
agree.
conflicts that they will have. I did hate how Bryce kept saying, like, as if Hunt fucking Athalar would have a girlfriend, like, he's not all that. It
You know, there is, like okay, so he has this, reputation as the Umbra Mortis or
Mhm,
whatever, as, like, a cold-blooded killer,
mhm.
like, a puppet of the Triari.
Yeah.
I don't think he has, like, street cred relationship-wise.
I don't think he has street cred. I don't think he has relationships. Like, honestly, well, first of all, he's already been in love with Shahar. So, like,
How confused were you whenever she asked him how long it had been since they had sex, and he was like, 2 months or something?
when he said
I thought he was gonna say, "Years."
I no, I literally
I
thought
was
he
like,
was
"I'm
gonna
kinda
say
mad."
same. I literally thought he was gonna say, like, since Shahar, and I was gonna be like, "Oof," because that was, what, 200 years ago?
Something.
That would've been bad, but yeah, I
I
was
was
so
hoping he was
gagged.
gonna say, like, couple years,
Mhm.
a year or 2,
Yeah.
like, before they met. This was after they met, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure because it had to have been this spring, and that was when, like, all
And
this
then there
started.
was, like, a sentence about, like, well, Bryce couldn't be mad because she also fucked that lion shifter or whatever, like, the same month or
Mhm,
I don't care, I'm mad.
mhm, mhm. Me too, 'cause it was when they knew each other, so that was crazy.
That was such a turn of events for
Ab
me.
absolutely.
Um, I enjoyed that he is, like, her battery, like, he, like, charges her power up
Yes.
because that's such an asset to her 'cause since I'm kinda confused about her power because she has, like, this deep well of power that was gifted to her, but she can't, like, really access it, which is weird.
I'm confused about it too, like, I guess it's supposed to be, like, the reason she was able to use it is because, like, the gate charged her up in the spring,
'Kay. Okay.
and then now he has to charge her up. I am glad that they figured it out, but I do still kind of hate that she can't just, like, access it at any point in
Me
time.
too.
It feels like she has the star power. I don't know. I'm quite confused about
Mhm. The star versus okay, so there's the star and then there's, like, the gate power, right? From the drop.
genuinely, I don't know. Um, by the end, I gathered that this spring she was able to do it because the gate charged her up, which was obviously an immense well of power,
Okay.
and then she was able to do all this other shit because Hunt had charged her up at the other times. I did really enjoy
While
that.
confusing, enjoyable.
Completely agree. Um, I need to know what the deal with Hunt's dad is because we keep getting snippet and then
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, why would people in this book say shit about his dad? Because he's so in the dark about it. He has absolutely no clue. And these people just keep hinting at like why he was quote bred. And I know that the
yeah,
Asteri breeds archangels, so that's not super confusing that they say it that way. But they've never told him anything,
mhm,
and he was worked with them for forever.
yeah,
So it's kind of weird, especially because his mom isn't alive anymore, and so he has no one to like ask or
mhm.
lean on. It's like he's kind of alone. It's really strange because I need to know.
I do too, and there keeps being mention of Thur that, like, he's like the
He
god
could
of
be Thur's
lightning or
dad. Thur
storms
could be his
or
dad. Oh, yeah, because that big statue, he looks just
Mhm.
like the statue in the beginning of the book.
Yes.
That's true.
There has to be some kind of connection there. I really don't know, but, like, I'm dying to know, and I feel like we got hint in the first book, hint in the second book, so it's like
And isn't there some mention of, like, people something there's, like, these 2 people, like, Bryce is supposed to be super powerful, and they knew he was gonna be powerful, and, like, there's some mention of, like, they're supposed to be together, which I guess they're already mates, so people already know
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but it's, like, these 2 really powerful people, but I'm like, Bryce can't even
Oh,
use her power.
yes. I guess just because he can charge her up. I mean, I honestly don't know, but I'm dying to know about his dad. This is the thing. This is my biggest question when we talk about Hunt. Why the fuck was he wearing a tank top to a party?
At the beginning, at
Yeah,
Runes,
that's not a pool party, and that's not a gym party. Why is he
was he
wearing a
also in
tank?
flip-flops? Like,
That if this
listen.
bitch would have put him in flip-flops, I would have
Shoot, there
snapped the
were
picture
I
up.
will say there was multiple mentions of it being, like, sweltering hot.
Honestly, grow up.
Don't care.
Be a man, sweat,
Sweat.
put on a t-shirt.
No, I do not know. That is, like, abhorrent. That's even
That
mentioned?
literally, like, my eye was twitching, like, why? A black tank top? Because I'm picturing a wife beater, like a is that still an
Yeah.
appropriate term? Are people still saying wife
I
beater?
don't know if it's politically correct, but, like, that's what it is, like, a wife beater. The white, like, ribbed.
Like, some Joe Boxer from Kmart.
Exactly, that came in a pack, in a plastic bag. Yes, that's what I pictured, a black version of that. So, yeah, and he has, like, probably a sunball hat on backwards.
He did.
Love it. Um, yeah, no, in my head, he's always, like, dressed like Fury, like, all black, long sleeve,
Yes.
cargo, boots.
Mhm.
That is Hunt in my head.
Completely agree. He's, like, always in, like, the leather battle suit
Yeah.
in my mind.
Oh, speaking of, like, what Hunt looks like, the front of the book and, like, have you seen the inside of the hardcover with, like, the big photo? Like,
The way the front of the book is not Hunt.
that's a twink. You have to see the book version. I will show you at the end. Like, literally, his hair is like curly, like flowing in the wind, and like his neck is skinny. I don't know. I'm like,
No, get the book.
nah.
Get the
Okay,
book.
hang on.
I've never seen I've only seen the outside where it's like his hair is blowing, but I don't know what you're talking about on the inside.
It's sort of just like the full photo of him from the front.
No, the way that's not Hunt, especially, because in this book, Hunt has short hair. Not short hair, but shorter hair.
Oh my god.
So what the fuck is that? That's not Hunt.
I that slipped my mind. The whole time I've been picturing him with the same long hair because I keep looking at the book and I pick it up.
He has a short
That's
haircut.
right, because it was like it barely stuck out of his hat.
Mhm,
Oh my god, I've got to get fan art of him with that because
mhm.
the way I can't picture that in my head because I have never done it.
I much prefer the shorter hair.
Okay,
That's like a big fantasy thing is for them to
the
have
long
long
hair.
hair, and I
Yeah,
actually, like, I'm not here for it. The only man who, in my opinion, can pull it off is, like, Lucian
yeah. No, I
and
totally
Rune
agree.
and Rune. Okay,
Yeah,
speaking of, let's go ahead and
Rune.
talk about Rune, and
He is my everything.
that's my main character right there.
Yes.
I am so obsessed with him and Lydia. They mean everything to me, and, I need so much more of them in the next book.
Hmm.
I need the full shebang, like, they're mates, right?
They have to be. They're night and day. Like,
Like, they're literally opposites, like,
yeah,
they literally complement each
yeah.
other. They absolutely have to be mates. Obsessed.
Me too. And I love that we got so much of his point of view on this book because did we got some on the first book, but not as much as this one, and I was really happy with that. Um, I love him, like, basically getting blackmailed into being a rebel by Cormac, and then that being the way that he, like, falls in love
That's
was
everything.
so
We,
sweet.
like, owe Cormac our lives
Do.
for
No, we
getting Rune
totally
involved.
do.
So funny.
I did think it was, like, amazing that he showed up and Day was like, "Who the fuck is this guy that keeps saying
Yeah.
yeah?"
It was so she's like, "That's how you
Like, "This
speak?"
is who Avion is sending me? Like, this is ridiculous."
I love it. I did think that the mental sex is, 1, confusing and is, like, kind of a lot, like,
It was a lot. Yeah.
I need to know, like, I don't know if they're, like, asleep when they're I don't think so because, like, at the end when they're, like, going into the throne room, she's still trying to, like, talk to him, so I don't think they have to be asleep, but for
I think they were asleep when it happened.
okay, I just wanna know, like, did he wake up with, like, jizz in his pants or, like, w
Oh.
like, did he
Like, was
physically
there a physical
like
response?
yes,
Oh.
that's what I wanna
Well,
know.
but 'cause the sense, like, after they have mind sex,
Mhm.
the scent on their bodies changed to each other's, which is giving mate,
100%.
but I don't 100% know that because I know it doesn't exactly translate because in ACOTAR, like, when Nesta had hooked up with those people, Cassian could still scent the
Yeah.
males on her. I guess it d I don't know, it kinda depends, but, like, the fact that they could smell each other, I feel like there was some kind of physical. That's a good question.
It's so
He wakes up
crazy.
and has to change clothes and
Yeah,
shower.
literally, he's got, like, cum all over him. He's made a huge mess in his
He was
pants.
on the couch, wasn't he?
Ew, like, imagine you're, like, watching TV beside Rune and he's asleep, and then all of a
He has a
sudden
boner.
are there any physical, like is he, like, humping? I don't know, like
I don't think there was, like, motion, but the question stands about the cum because that is fucking funny. Um, wow. Okay. Rune also in this book, I feel like gets a purpose, which he's never really had before. I know he was like in the Ox
Mhm.
and he was kind of like in charge of other people, but he's always been taking other people's orders. And I feel like this kind of gives him his own like secret thing that he
Yes.
gets to do. And then it's kind of, I know that the Autumn King, like we kind of question if he's a rebel or not, but it's still in total opposition of the Autumn King.
Mhm.
So that's like makes it even better for him because I feel like everything he does, he wants to piss off his dad,
Yes.
which is hilarious. But
Totally, I agree with you. I feel like because he, like, does head up the aux and everything, so he has that, but that's not really, like, his thing. Whereas this and especially because, like, he does talk today and he is, like, I mean, a completely vital part of the entire operation. I love that for
yeah,
him.
me too. He needed something like that,
I
and it
will
kind of gave him like found family. I know he already had Declan and Flynn, but now he gets like Hunt. He gets to trust him more. He gets to hang out with Bryce, and then the Therian of it all is wow.
yes, and Ethan, who, like, comes to live
Oh my god, I totally shorted him, yeah.
so, yeah, it kind of, like, brings the group together. That is one thing that Sarah J. Maas does flawlessly is bringing a group of people together.
Agree.
Um,
It's giving Inner Circle.
100%. The one thing about Rune in this book that was driving me mad was at the end when he shut Lydia out because
Dude, that is the most, first of all, dangerous, like, decision because she's trying to save your ass. She's
right,
proven that time and time again. Just because you're mad that she's the hind, like, you don't know shit about her. You might think that you do, but it's very clear that in this moment, no one does. So you
exactly.
have to just accept her help if there's anything for her to offer. Like, you're not ever gonna know about it because she's being locked out of your mind.
Exactly, and she's, like, still like, at present, like, still trying to help you, and this is, like, top number 1 worst situation that you could possibly be
This is
in.
life or death.
This is, like, the worst death. Like
This is death or torture.
yeah, exactly, and so you're just like, "Nah, fuck that." Like, fuck her.
I'll take it on the chin, like, blah, blah. No, it's giving toxic frat boy.
100%. It is. I was so mad at him, but, like, that's his literal one and only flaw, but I just feel like, why now? Why choose now to be prideful? Like, babe, you know her. Just because it's a different person that you than you expected,
That's what I don't understand is it isn't their whole relationship founded upon, like, you know me without it's this is Love is Blind.
ri
You
this is Love is Blind.
like, you guys fell in love without knowing who each other were, and you felt like you knew each other more than anyone else on the planet, and all of a sudden, you find out that it's someone that you do know of, and you're like, "No, no, it's all been a lie." Like, shut the fuck up.
It killed me.
It killed me.
Um, One question for you. Do you think that it's strange that a bunch of 75-year-old men are still acting like fraternity brothers, like living in the frat house? Or do you feel like it's normal?
It's a good question. So, slips my mind every time that they're 75. I don't think that the same rules of aging apply. Obviously, it's fantasy, so they're relatively young for Faye, but no, the question remains. I don't know. It's less about like them all living together and throwing parties and more about it being like described as like sticky, stinky house.
Like,
That's not no matter how old.
I agree. Like, I feel like because there are humans in this world who, like, Rune is older than, like, Ember and Randall, who,
Oh,
you know,
considered.
who
Yeah.
like, they've lived the same amount of time to get to a certain point, like, mentally. I don't know, it doesn't, like, fully I let it slide, but it doesn't fully sit right with me that
Yeah.
there's just, like, beer cans
Especially, like,
everywhere.
his opening scene, like, everyone whenever it first came out on TikTok, I remember everyone was, like, obsessed because of, like, partying, like, sex with some random girl in his room, but then it describes the room as, like, a pile of laundry on the floor and the Star Wars sword just, like, laying against it, like, it's kinda gross. I do want to hark back to what I said earlier, like, everything he does is in opposition to his dad, and I think that Flynn is the exact same way. So, maybe that plays into it, but you could do your laundry. You could hit the floor with a mop.
Completely agree. Also, like, just to touch on Flynn, I know that you haven't read the bonus chapters for this book. If any of you have not read the bonus chapters for this book, there are 2. There's one from Bryson Hunt's perspective and one that's like Rune, Declan, and Flynn. You gotta read them because you get, like, an insight into
Okay.
Flynn. Um,
I really do need to.
it is they're really I mean, they're just, like, short.
I actually didn't know that they existed until you sent them to me the other
I
day,
didn't
and
know
then I
that
just forgot to read
I didn't
them.
know they existed until I saw something on Instagram, like, a couple weeks ago. So, um, yeah, that's all that I had to say about Rune. So, who should we move on to that's still from the first book, or is that everybody?
That did was Therian in the he was in the first book. So, again, another character that I'm really happy that we got to see a lot of. I also think we got a pretty good backstory on him, at least enough to like suffice. I feel really bad about his sister dying. I was really sad. Um, and I also feel like he started off in a not great place mentally, but he ends up. I'm like worried about him at the end. I hate
Same.
that he's in some sort of debt to the Vipe.
Hate.
She's I know, like, we said it with, kind of admiration last time, but now I'm saying it with fear, like, she's scary.
Why did he take the venom? Why?
I don't know.
It literally, like, the dagger to the heart. Like, I get that he was panicked about what was going on. I just feel like Tharian doesn't think. Like,
No.
he didn't think he was thinking with his dick. That's how he got into the situation with
Correct.
his daughter to begin with.
Correct.
Babe, please, like, call somebody.
Like, make one decision that's not by the seat of your pants. One,
Literally, he, like, just takes off, like, at a sprint to the meat market.
it's everything about it, like, makes my stomach drop. Like, I just, like, have a pit about him, and I don't think that I know that he's, like, now part of the meat market, Viper Queen, whatever she I don't know, her
Whatever
little
house.
minions. I don't even know if she's, like, really a house.
That's true. I guess he's defected from, I guess, many waters to
Right,
whatever the
yeah,
fuck she is. So, anyway,
whatever.
hated
It's
it.
very hated it, hated it, hated it. Um, I did oh my god, we also found out about the tally marks.
The tally marks from the summit finally figured out that he was counting how many times Rune gaped at Hypaxia.
Pax.
Love the nickname.
Me too.
Obsessed.
Yeah, me too. That's really funny because I forgot that Rune didn't know. Like he knew that he was engaged to the Witch Queen, but he didn't know that the Witch Queen was the Med Witch.
Yes.
So it was like all full circle because he never got her name whenever she was the Med Witch.
Right.
So so fucking funny that they just like became fast friends. And he has that about him. He's very like swaggering and always putting on a brave face, but that's why I'm worried about it.
Exactly, exactly. He doesn't make good decisions. Who even knows what's to come with him now being, like, under the Viper Queen's rule?
I need him to get out of the meat market because he is such a vital, like integral group member
Yes.
to all the friend group. Like he's like part of the glue that holds everyone together.
Exactly.
He's always the comedic relief.
100%. I need him back with everybody. Like, I need Bryce to come back. Let's get everybody together. Let's get Rune and Baxian and Hunt out of the dungeons.
Yep.
Let's get the gang back
The
together.
gang back together.
Well, I won't speculate, but, he's gotta get away. I don't even know how you get away from
No,
her.
because not only are you like indebted to her now, he's like addicted to her venom. They say that people like kill themselves over it.
Literally. That's what scares me the most. I think, like, I would have been fine if he just went to her, and I feel like Mark could have gotten him out of it just on, like,
Yeah.
through, like, a legal stance, but I also feel like Mark could have handled his situation for him from the jump instead of going to the Viper Queen. So,
Which he didn't have a lot of time. Like the ocean was rumbling or the river was rumbling like headed for him. So I get that he was in a bit of a bind. It just could have been more thought out. Like how did you not think at the ball that this was going to go poorly?
let's talk about the ball. Why the fuck did he leave the daughter there? I thought at that point in time he was gonna go like he's like, "You stay here, I'll be right back." I thought he was gonna go do something like surprise her with something, do something really nice for her.
Yeah, we did not the way that I didn't expect him to go fuck someone else in the garden.
Like, what was that?
I don't know. And it was kind of in opposition to his normal character, I feel like. Because I thought he was like a really good, nice guy. And I understand that he doesn't want to be in this engagement. That's not really part of this. But he did go to her and say, like, let's go on a double date above. I want to take you up there. I want you to meet my friends. And maybe, I mean, obviously he was just lying to get her to placate her. But that breaks my heart for her. And it's very fucked up. But yeah, that whole entire scene kind of
Rubbed me the wrong way. I just feel like he has impulse problems and
oh my god, maybe he does. We should diagnose him.
and also the River Queen's daughter is giving Elaine
Oh, like Airhead, like
crybaby.
Crybaby, uh, Space Cadet.
She gives nothing, boring,
Yeah.
just just snooze fest. So anyway, I'm praying for Therian. I'm scared for him.
Maybe Hypaxia can like come in and I don't know. So he has connections. There's just no reason for him to be doing this.
He has connections. They're a little bit occupied, like, at the moment in the dungeons and in another
Uh,
world. But speaking of Hypaxia, love.
Love. We obviously were obsessed with her at the end of the last book after she removed the halo from Hunt, like on a whim. So in this book, I feel like I like her even more. It was really cool to learn about her backstory and to hear that her teachers were dead.
I loved
Her
that
mom's a
part.
freak for
I
that.
agree. I agree.
But it is a really cool aspect of her upbringing, and it makes sense now that she like has the tie to the House of Flame and Shadow with the necromancy and all of that. But I don't know. I feel like I like her. I want more of her. I don't really have a ton to say. I was definitely scared she was gonna die with Bryce whenever those demons came out.
Gosh, same. Thank God she was there and had her little broom and she could stab the thing. I completely forgot that she and Lydia were sisters.
Me too.
That had 100% completely slipped my mind, but I feel like when Hypaxia, like, went up to Lydia at the Equinox ball or whatever and tried to, like, talk to her, and Lydia was so closed off, it broke my heart because it was so, like, sweet and pure for Hypaxia to go up and
I
try to talk
know.
to her.
I know she just wants to like start a relationship with her and she has no idea
Yeah,
how.
and she's like when Lydia's like, "Hon, like, no one's ever called me sister before," and Hypaxia is like, "Well, hopefully, like, it's something that you'll get accustomed
I
to."
love her.
Same, but I am hoping that now that we know Lydia is good,
This will
yes, like,
change.
maybe she actually will be
To this new
100%,
sisterhood with her.
100%. How are we gonna get Lydia, like, with us? That's
That's the question on everyone's lips.
that's what I'm dying to know after this.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, I don't mean to
Can move on to Lydia, but before we do that, I want to talk about Hypaxia with Celestina.
okay,
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Sometimes in my head, I think I say Celestina. I don't know.
okay.
Whatever. Okay, fuck Celestina.
What the fuck? Because I was
Oh,
so just, like, adamant that
it was good.
she is on our side, like, I actually could not believe that she sold them out. I'm
I
genuinely
was gagged.
hoping that next book we find out that, like, some shit was going down and it was, like, a life or death situation for her, like, she absolutely had to rat them out to save herself. That's the only
Yeah.
way that
I felt the same way as Hunt at the beginning. I was like, something, there's like some kind of barrier there letting me open up everything to her. But then whenever she started talking about, oh, I was best friends with Shahar, I tried to buy you multiple times, but I had to stop because the hysteria was getting like suspicious about why I was trying to buy you and I really wanted you to be safe, blah, blah, blah. She won me over. And maybe it's all true, but the part where she was like, love is a trap and like tried to use that as a reason why
yes, and she was, like, saying how, like, basically she wanted freedom because now she has to, like, mate with Ephraim and
yeah. So where did that switch flip and what caused it to flip? Because they are forcing you to mate with a male and you are in love with Hypaxia. You have every right to want to be free from them too. Why are you just
100%.
like laying down and taking it now?
100%. This kind of like bodes the question for the next book. Like, will Hypaxia be with us or will she be with Celestina?
I don't know. I don't, it was weird that we didn't really get, maybe it's in the next book, I don't know, but Celestina's point of view of this because Hypaxia is gonna be furious. These are her friends. These are like her people. I mean, she's literally fucking engaged to Rune. I know that that doesn't actually matter in like a relationship love kind of way, but they do have an alliance now. And so that's kind of fucked up. But I was really happy for these two because I was like, well, this kind of gives Rune an out to be with Day, and it also makes sure that Hypaxia is happy because she didn't really seem super happy about the engagement. I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'm still a little beat up over this.
Completely agree. I I don't know, it's like, where do we go from here? I really do kind of still hope that Celestina will.
'Cause there's such a difference in, like, the Asteria made it seem like she ran to them as soon as she
Yeah,
saw them leaving, but it almost I don't well, obviously, I don't fucking believe them, but, like, it would almost be better if they thought she knew something and, like, tortured it out of her.
100%,
I would respect that more.
100%.
Um,
Like, maybe they were onto her in Hypaxia and were, like, using Hypaxia against her somehow, or I don't
that could
know.
be it, especially because she's like, "Love is a trap." That could definitely that would fit into, like, what she's saying, but I need the full story before I decide my official judgment upon
I just
Celestina.
feel like she was too seemingly genuine to, like, actually betray
Just
us.
run away and yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was
we'll see what
gutted.
happens, but let's go ahead and
Gutted.
talk about Lydia.
Day. I love, love, love this character, and as we discussed in the last well, I don't know if we talked about did we talk about the Hind in the last book at all? Was she even no, she wasn't, I don't think. But I liked her both characters separately before I found out they were the same. Because the Hind, even though she's like, the ops, she's like the most stunning, beautiful angel that Rune has ever laid his eyes on. She's scary as fuck. And she's like very high ranking. These are things I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And that's just that. And she was like very mysterious. Like we didn't know much about her. She kind of climbed the ranks secretively and at a very young age. That is alluring. And then Day is like hilarious to me. She's like, "What the fuck are these people sending me? These like random little men to come be my messenger boys." And then that Day has to be really close with the Asteri and like risking her fucking life. And then like she falls in love with Rune. So then to find out that they're the same person, wow. Chef's
No,
kiss.
it sat well with me, especially when, like, you kind of stop, you put it all back together. Now, granted, this was our second time reading the book, so we knew the entire time, and it
Yeah.
was I can't recommend enough reading this book knowing that Lydia is Day because it makes her characters even better this time.
Actually, I agree with that.
But, it's so sweet, like, at the equinox when Rune goes out to the fountain, like, to meet whoever Day is, and the harpy shows up, and then, like, the nun
Uh-huh.
shows up, but then, like.
The first time you hear that, you're like, "Oh, fuck,
Yes,
she's here."
yeah.
Like, "Ooh." And then you're like left questioning because I remember I was like, "Huh, maybe it could be one of them," but I was not like 100% sure.
No,
You're just
same,
kind of like,
same. Um, but then afterward, when she's like, "I saw who you are," like,
you're
Rune.
like, "Okay, she was there."
Yes, I love her, like, I love that she's like, "You see the real me," like, I can't remember the last time I got to be who I really am. The shit with Pollux, though.
That man, I wanna see his head roll. I'm so disgusted by everything that he has put her through. Not only physically, but just, like, emotionally. He's not
And
okay.
imagine, like, what she has to like, her ability to just glaze whenever he's having sex with her, and she literally is, like, not with him. Like, imagine how disgusting she thinks that he is, and to not shy away from it and to just go along with it, and obviously, he's not onto her.
No, he has that is my favorite thing about her. The fact that no one suspects her, give her a Golden Globe, give her an Emmy.
Literally, even up until, like, we're in the throne room, like, at the end, like, no idea. The Asteri have no idea that she is plotting anything. Granted, it is, like, truly the best case scenario that she and Rune can speak mind to mind about
Yeah,
everything because no one's ever going to be able to figure that out. She's such a bad bitch.
she's such and to find out that she was the one that summoned the depth charger for them, oh, so good, and then for it made so much sense whenever Hunt was, like, really I loved him being so worried that she was gonna rat him out, and then us the whole time thinking that she's waiting for the perfect opportunity to do it. She's like,
Wait, what part are you talking about?
Remember whenever she sees them and she drops the crystal in the water and he's like he goes back to the, comitium or whatever, and he's like she's putting on her lipstick, and and the scene is like
That is so good.
he's like, "I never imagined she had to put the lipstick on." And she's doing her lipstick, and he's like, "Uh, what about the depth charge?" She's like, "It's really weird that you're bringing that up."
Yeah. He's like, "Are we gonna talk about it?" And she's like, "Oh, that we just fucked in the shower? Like, sorry, like, you shouldn't have come in." I forgot about that part.
And it makes sense at the end, obviously. Everything starts it's like the Micah thing, you start piecing it all together, you're like, "Oh my god, how did I not see this coming?" But I was scared of her because I was like, "She's waiting until she gathers all the clues that they are 100% rebels." But yeah, turns out she's just on their side
And I hated that at the end, like, she kind of knew that the Asteri were onto Bryce and everyone the whole time, but she couldn't tell them without,
without giving away her
yeah,
yeah,
that someone on the inside was, like, onto them. Hated that she had to do that, but, like, the bitch has
you
to
gotta do it.
survive, like,
You have to well, not just survive, but she has to keep the rebellion alive, and she has to keep her position within
right,
the Triari to do that.
right.
So we have to give her a full pass on that.
100%, but the ending was great, loved that she, like, set Bryce up to unlock everybody's chains.
Mhm.
It was so good. I'm so happy to have her as, like, part of the crew.
Yes, if we can get her out of
Ye
their grasp, we have to get her out
yes, and
and get her with the
I'm
gang.
very much looking forward to it. So, let's move on and talk about the Asteri in general. Fuck them.
Fuck them. Uh, honestly, a really cool concept. They're like intergalactic parasites or whatever Bryce keeps calling them. That's crazy. And I loved that she went underneath and like saw all the planets and like kind of gathered all the information. And then I love whenever she goes to hell and they're like, kicked us out. Didn't work out. Had to leave immediately. But just finding out everything about them was super interesting to me.
Sarah
But
J.
still fuck them.
Yeah, Sarah J. Maas is a mastermind. Like, who the fuck thinks of that? It was so crazy, and I felt like there was no way to guess any of this. Like, you would quite literally never be able to think like, "Oh, what if this is what
Right.
happened?" Like,
Mhm.
no way. And she does it in such an in-depth way. And like, obviously, now I guess we're gonna get the somehow Prithian is involved with everything. So just imagine like the interminglings.
She's been using the noggin for a while.
She's been making notes.
Yes, because the way that has overlapped seamlessly, like, totally seamlessly, because it's, like, one of the planets that they tried to conquer got kicked out. Um, obviously, you're not gonna overtake the Night Court, like, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. Please.
Hey guys, we're about to start talking about the Throne of Glass series with major spoilers. So if you have not read the entire Throne of Glass series, please skip forward to the 104:38 mark so that you do not get spoiled. If you have read Throne of Glass, just keep listening. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to get adjusted. And here we go in three, two, one.
But not only these 2 series, and this is a spoiler if anyone has not read Throne of Glass, please fast forward, we can
Yeah,
insert, like, a thing here.
yeah. I'll do like a little
Okay.
voiceover.
So at the end of Throne of Glass, whenever Aelin is like going through the worlds and she starts slowing down because she goes literally through Valeris and Rhys and Feyre are like in the air and he sends a shot of his power at her to slow her down so that she ends up back in I don't know if she's in Terrasen whenever she lands, but she's like back on their planet. So the question remains, people inquiring minds would like to know, is Throne of Glass also gonna come into play here?
Hmm. I don't know that I'm dying to have that happen.
Agree.
I think having read oh, we've already given our spoiler warning. Having read Throne of Glass, you can see how stuff from Throne of Glass has come into the story, like
Word marks. I keep seeing word marks everywhere.
exactly. You can see how it has, like, kind of built into that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Just trying to
Um,
adjust my mic a little bit.
but I don't know that I need Throne of Glass to come into this, like, I really don't.
I actually 100% agree with you. And there's been a lot of speculation that she'll be in that Aelin herself will be in the next book because they call her the Queen of Flame and Shadow in one of the books. And someone just like posted that on TikTok. This was back whenever everyone was like, the ending of Crescent City 2 had just dropped. So everyone was like trying to link everything together. But in the current climate of where they're at, I don't think there's enough like book to fit not only this crossover on the planet of the Fae, the original planet of the Fae, but then also going into Aelin's world.
I don't think so either because, first of all, Bryce is going to have to figure out
How to get
how
back.
how to get back, so that's gonna have to happen. The only thing I could think of for Throne of Glass would be if she left there and was trying to go back to Midgard and accidentally ended up in Aelin's world, because Aelin is also a world walker, so
Right.
maybe but I honestly, I don't need it now, if we're gonna have any kind of crossover, I need Man in Blackbeak and
Nesta Archeron.
Nesta Archeron to just Kiki, like, I don't need it you know what, I do need it to be an argument, but I need both of them to win, so,
Yeah.
like, I can't pick who I
Yeah.
need to overpower the other.
That is so fucking funny. Manon is amazing. And the thing is, everyone knows I'm a Reese girl. Okay. You guys have witnessed it firsthand from many, many books. The way I'm a Dorian girl.
The way you are a Dorian
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah. We can't have a crossover because everyone's gonna fall in love with Dorian. It's not gonna be fair. He has raw power. Okay?
He's everything. Him and Manon are literally
I
everything.
need a Dorian book more than I need oxygen.
Li literally same. I have to know what happened after Kingdom of Ash.
It's it's a disservice to me personally. It's a personal affront, but also like everyone wants to know about them.
Completely, like, to me, I have a very, like, different perspective on the whole on Kingdom of Ash. Manon and Dorian to me are the best storyline
I agree.
in the entire book besides Kaltain. May she rest, my queen, my queen.
We owe her.
Um, yeah, I need a Manon and Dorian story to come through. Anyway, we're getting so sidetracked.
Yes.
I don't need Throne of Glass to come into play. I do need everyone who keeps saying that Throne of Glass was set like hundreds of years before um, Akatar or Crescent City to like like for the love of God, shut the fuck up. Like you are fucking dumb. She literally tells you, she says, Aelin goes through the world and she sees a like dark haired male and he has like all this power and he sends his power to like help slow her down. And he's
There's a
standing beside
pregnant.
with, what does she say, gold brown hair
Yeah.
beside him that's pregnant. Um, and then in Akatar, at Starfall, they said that they saw a red star and it was a bad omen. That was obviously Aelin. Also, Aelin says that she like falls through a city with like a crescent-shaped river.
Yeah. Like these are
Like baby, they're happening at the same
same
time.
time. Y'all gotta grow up.
They're happening at the same time. Like you have to think that Crescent City, like when Bryce lands there, is after Feyre has had Nyx because they're at the river house
Yeah.
when she lands
Exactly.
and Feyre is not pregnant.
Yes.
So it has to be after that. Like, get a fucking grip.
Gotta grow up.
Anyway,
So we were gonna spend. Let me send you the time because we're done. We're done talking about that. So I'm gonna send you the time so that we can send everyone like we'll just like post that before so everyone can kind of fast forward to this point. Okay.
What were we who were we even talking about? The Asteri
We
still?
were talking about the hysteria and we got a little sidetracked, but that's okay because now we can talk about anyone else because we still have to talk about Ethan and Baxian and Cormac.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do, Ethan. So
Love.
the yeah, love. I am so glad that he joined the group. Hate how we, like, had to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it sucks for him because, he's the wolf, so he feels packless, like in his soul. But to me, it's kind of the best thing that could ever happen to him because now he is officially separate from Sabine.
And thank God for
Yeah.
that. That is the nastiest, most vile bitch on the
And
planet.
how does it make you feel that she looks like you?
The way she does it, the way I have
She's
n
brunette in my head. I don't.
same. To me, she has long black hair, and I don't, like, know why, like, they've stated or Sarah J. Maas has stated multiple
Yeah, she's
times
like
that
Danica's
that
twin.
just the
Yeah.
corn silk the corn silk hair not registering in my mind.
It's like long and black in my head for sure. But it's because she's a wolf and the wolves in Twilight,
Exactly.
they are of Native American descent and so they are all black hair,
How
dark
does it make
skin.
how does it make you feel that people picture Sabine looking like you?
That's okay. This is what a villain should look like. Okay?
Only if they're female.
Correct. Correct. So anyway, back to Ethan. I just love having a wolf around to be honest. And I don't know. I do obviously I feel bad for him, but I think it's really sweet that he like comes and stands up for Bryce in the news. That's how he gets kicked out and everything. What I do not need and absolutely detest is the fact that he decides that he's in love with Bryce too back in the day. Not everybody has to be. Because it wasn't just like, oh, I had a childhood crush. It was like, oh, I wanted her to have my kids and I pictured our marriage.
But, like, Bryce was in college at this point, so that's, like, old enough to start considering a serious kind of
Not for Bryce.
relationship.
Not for Bryce because she because she was adamant that she was too young to date Connor. Because she knew how serious it was gonna be. But
Right.
she was like, "Nope, I need a little bit more time to party." And Ethan in his head was like, "Yeah, she's holding out for me." Like, you're like preying on your brother's downfall this whole time.
Yeah,
Embarrassing.
I hated that, like, not everybody needs to be in love with the main character, and what is it adding to the plot? Like, truly, why can't they just be friends? I don't feel like it makes a difference one way or the other. Like, you don't need to have Bryce has a crush on Flynn, but Therian has a crush on Bryce, and Ethan had a crush on Bryce, but Bryce is with Hunt. Like, you don't
No, it makes it weird, like really weird,
agree.
especially because they're all hanging out now. And
Agree.
and like people keep saying shit to Ethan about it too. Like it's apparently blatant that he was in love with her and like kind of still holds a candle. Like, babe, let it go. She has a mate. A
Yeah.
real mate, like a real true mate.
I just I didn't need that. I'm hoping that Sabine will go. I don't necessarily know that I want it to be Ethan who, like, takes over, and there's this whole thing with now the Mystic is the lost Fender heir, which I actually don't like that, like, I feel like that is too on the nose
Okay.
with the whole, like, making
What we
sure
need
yes, making sure that in the end, everybody is protected by someone who's in this
to
group.
be in charge. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I
Because like
don't
that, it could just be Ethan. It doesn't have to be like some familial tie. But maybe I don't know the rules of the rules, so it could be that it like has to be a Fender.
yes, exactly. I didn't need that to happen. Were you getting that Ethan was drawn to the Mystic because, like, they were mates?
Well, that's what I thought at first. Whenever he like realized that she was a wolf or whatever, I was like, "Oh no, here we go, another mate trope." But I really do think it's just because she was an alpha. Because I
Oh, that's a good
Because
point.
I don't know, they keep saying that Ethan, like, had or Connor had the alpha quality and
Yeah.
that Ethan might have it. I don't necessarily agree with it if he is this drawn to an alpha, he might not be one.
Huh. That's a really, really good point.
Thanks.
I was getting mate vibes, but you're right, like, it could be, like, an overwhelming sense of what's pack
Allegiance,
mentality?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah, so
Um,
I agree with you that it's like, if she was just a wolf and he was like, "Oh, like, I need to save her because this is fucked up. What's happening to her?" And she wants to be saved. She was not really given that vibe.
yeah,
Um,
like, not at all.
no, not even a little bit. But, if that was the reason, then I was, like, totally cool with it, but the fact that it's, like, a Fender Air, I agree with you, it's a little bit contrived, but this is Sarah J. So who knows if it's actually gonna pan out how we think.
Very, very good point.
I
Other
will
thi
do literally anything to get rid of Sabine, so if it has to be to go along with the story that the random mystic is a Fender Air, I'm happy to do it.
completely agree. I don't care who shoves a knife through Sabine's throat, someone needs to do it
Needs.
and soon.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that Ethan stole from the astronomer, let's talk about the, like, sprites and is it
Ariadne is what I'm saying, I
Ariadne?
don't know.
Okay. Love, love I love the sprites, like, in general, I feel like just their whole, like, attitude and like, their outward I don't know, I love them.
Me too. The sprites bring such, like, a je ne sais quoi that I was missing without La
Mhm.
because 'cause they're so just, like, I don't know, like, funny and flirty and sweet and innocent, and the fact that, like, they just, like, hang out around Flynn because he's always the one, like, flirting with people, it just it just tickles my fancy.
Yeah, it sits right
It
with
does
me.
sit right. Um, they're super sweet, and, I like whenever it describes, like, the color of, like, that they're turning at this whatever emotion they're having, they,
Love.
like, have a color. I love that. The dragon could have proven more beneficial than she actually did.
What a big nothing burger.
She dipped at the first sign of trouble, and I kinda thought she was gonna be a bad bitch, and she just didn't, you know.
We really, like, don't get anything from her except for, like, she's fucking scary.
Yeah, and then they said that dragonfire can kill
The Princes of Hell.
but, like, we need them to she needs to kill the Asteri.
One can only hope that it's, like, one and the same.
Yeah.
I do wanna share with you my theory that Ari and Amren are of similar ilk.
If
So
you don't watch The Toast, let me just say, like, we know the word is ilk.
yes.
It's an inside joke that's not ours. It is shared with millions across America from The Toast, but anyway, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So, says that their fire can burn even the princes of hell, and also, like, Ari, when she's in the ring, she, like, presents as just a ball of fire, and also Amren in her true form, like, is a ball of fire. Um, they also say that Ari has, like, crazy eyes, and then that's, like, the Amren's whole
Yeah.
thing is that her eyes are, like they couldn't get it right once she went into this, like, mortal form. And then she also said something that's like her kin are in the sleep of true immortals. And is Amren not because even though like the Fae technically are immortal, they still die at a certain point in time, but like not Amren,
Not
she's.
Amren, yeah.
So I
Hmm.
just
This is a good theory. I am a little hesitant to, like, go all in about it. I think they maybe have the same, like, immortal qualities, but it is weird that she has, like, an actual physical form, like a dragon, which Amren doesn't really have.
and I feel like Sarah J. Maas also sets you up closely with like the Fury Amren parallel.
That's true,
And
yeah.
also almost like the Viper Queen Amren parallel, like, they all kinda have, like, the short black hair and, like, weird I don't know, they're just, like,
They're just
very
different mysterious
Mhm,
creatures, yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting though, like, there's something weird about Ari that she's not sharing, which obviously she is still a slave, even in the meat market, like, she's still enslaved to the astronomer, which we gotta figure out a way to get her out of that before she's actually gonna be helpful at all. But I like the theory that she's, like, all powerful in some way.
I do too, I hope that she will prove to be beneficial
Please God.
in
We
the
need
next
all
book.
the help we can get on our team.
Mhm.
What do you think about Baxian?
Loved getting his whole backstory and everything. It was, like, kind of similar vibes as Hunt, like, "Why are you being so nice to us? Like, we don't really
Yeah.
trust you," but then when it is revealed that he's Danica's mate, the way I was so gagged,
It was
I would have
wow.
never seen it coming, but can you even imagine, like, he only had her for 2 years and then, like, she died, like
No. No, this is, like, soul, like, crushing again because I was so in love with Danica and we got her for, like, 20 minutes. But to have, like, such a big part of her life, even though it was secret, like, come into contact with Bryce, like, that this is just gonna help her. I don't know if it's gonna help her or make her more sad, honestly, but they at least have that shared grief of, like, missing her. I know Ethan can kind of relate, but Baxian and, um, Bryce are, like, much more on the same level of
Yeah,
grieving for Danica. It's
right.
so sad to have her just, like, ripped away from him and to have it done by, like, Micah, like, somebody that he was, like, very aware of and kinda worked in the same realm as.
And something that we forgot to talk about is, like, how Micah killing Danica was, like, all
The
he
Asteri.
Micah was a
What?
puppet, and, like,
And as much as Micah deserved to be a puppet, like, why did it have to be to the downfall of Danica? We've said this multiple times, but I just want to know everything Danica knew, and I want it from her perspective.
completely agree. I would love to have a prequel book that is Danica's entire story, how she got to even being suspicious about anything, to meeting up with Sophie, meeting Baxian. Like, I would love to have Danica's POV, like, first person Danica POV.
I agree because we keep learning it in little chunks, and it's like backwards and forwards and kind of twisty turny. And Bryce is just trying to like gather any information about Danica. Like this whole entire series is Bryce trying to avenge Danica, pretty much. But I need it more condensed. I don't need to like spend 20 chapters thinking, what about this? What about that? And then all of a sudden, like, here's Danica's like 5 years of college paperwork that was just sitting in her desk in your living room.
Right. Yeah, I would love to have. One can only hope that Sarah J. Maas would write that. I don't think she would,
Yeah.
but because I think there's probably only gonna be after, Flame and Shadow, I think there's only gonna be one more
Crescent
book.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Danica meeting up with Sophie, I know she wasn't like a big like role, but Sophie's character seems she seems important, but I can't figure out how she's important because she's dead. We've confirmed she did. And I mean, like where do we go from here? Like is her storyline just totally over with the Thunderbirds?
Right. I feel like it doesn't lead you to anything more than just what you could have gotten from Danica/Baxian. That's one thing about Baxian. This all of this, we owe literally everything to Baxian because if he had not told Danica about the room number,
Bryce would have never been able to find
yeah,
it.
because
Yeah.
Danica would have told Sophie, never would have written it on her arm.
Uh-huh.
None of this would have happened
Yeah.
without
And
Baxian.
he's also like not ever trying to keep anything to himself. He's like Hunt is like
No poker
there's
face.
no, he's like there's rebel sympathizers. He's like, yeah, I'm one of them. And then um they're like, why is Sabine so scared of Mordok? And they're like, because Mordok is Annika's dad. I'm like, you were just harboring this information?
Literally, and I do love that Sabina's scared of
Lexian,
Baxian,
yeah.
and that's the reason why she, like, left that day. Like, really, better put some respect on his name. Love him. I didn't mean to, skirt back away
No,
from
it's
the Danica
okay.
and Sophie of it all, but I feel like the Sophie storyline, what are we gleaning? Especially because, like, then we got Emil, and that was, like, a whole thing, but that kind of doesn't really
Pan out to be, I mean,
anything
anything.
of importance. I mean,
No.
we get one
Just a
scene with
point of
him.
contention between her and Hunt.
Literally, that was not necessary to begin with. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess
One thing with Sophie, well, I don't know if this is really Sophie's doing, but like the way that Cormac got brought in from the Autumn King kind of tied everything in with Sophie, which I enjoyed. And I honestly liked Cormac as a character.
same.
I know he's kind of an asshole, but
And, you know what? I think maybe that just has more to do with his upbringing and, like, being away from everybody because I feel like if he would just, like, pull the stick out of his ass, he's fine. Like
yeah, he's just like not used to girls talking when they're not being spoken to.
exactly. I liked him too, and I felt like it was great that we got him to, first of all, know that they can teleport,
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
and he could, like, teach that to
Yeah, he was
Bryce.
like vital to, like, her learning her powers, which was a nice tie-in to, like, the fae of it all with
Yes,
her.
yes,
Um,
and it also points you to the night court
yes.
aspect of everything, so that I thought he was a great
Me
character.
too, yeah, and just aesthetically, like, I enjoy listening to him talk, like, reading his parts, because he still speaks with, like, the old English, like, dialect, and I've really missed that when I'm reading this book in particular, like, I just miss and the Autumn King kinda does it too. They're just, like, a very, like, proper and old school English, and I live for that.
Totally. One thing about Cormac, and this, like I've said, this is our second time reading it. I did not remember one bit that he was Agent Silverbow
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's a kind of a
at
big
all.
reveal, yeah,
At all. I did
like,
not
in love
remember.
with Sophie.
Yes, I did not remember that they were connected. Like, I forgot the entire storyline. So that was really nice to get like that surprise, brand new, yeah, over again. So that was great. I did think it was a little bit strange that Sophie doesn't know like his real name or who he, like, really
Yeah,
is,
that's kinda weird because he
but
knows everything about her.
yes, but at the same time, like, he is a prince, so he can't necessarily just go
Amazing point. He can't just
just
be like, "I'm the crown prince of Avalon."
right,
Like,
right.
yeah, that's true because that would definitely jeopardize everything that they've worked for with his rebel stuff. Do you think he's actually dead?
I was about to bring this up. I don't think that he's dead. I just feel like Sarah J. Maas, like, that bitch will kill somebody, and she will rip out your heart to do so. And I just didn't get that, and maybe it's because we aren't super close to him, like, he's not really, like, a vital key a he's not really, like, part of the gang, he's kinda just, like,
He's still
around
adjacent, yeah.
everybody. I The heartstrings weren't pulled at all, I felt like it happened so quickly, but the thing is that if it's supposed to be that he blew up the lab, well, if he did that, then that means he still had his power, meaning that the bullet that shot him wasn't, like, the Gorsian bullet, so if he could blow it up, he could winnow. So, like, in my mind, I think that he would have been able to throw his power, winnow out of there, and still be alive. It just felt a little bit anticlimactic to me.
Yeah.
I feel like he's still alive.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that just because, like, Homeboy was ash at the end, like, he exploded the whole lab, like, which is a big going out party for him, like, this is, like, a huge lab for the Asteri.
Totally, and it's like he lived to aid Ophion and, like, get the world to a new place, so I felt like it was kind of like a fitting death for
Yeah, it was
him.
definitely symbolic,
Mhm.
and now he gets to be with Sophie, kinda.
Agree, but I don't know. I don't know.
We will see.
Yeah,
We finna see. Is there anybody else that you wanted to discuss?
I don't think so. I think that's everybody.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and move on. Let's play favorites. So who was your favorite character?
Lydia. Point
Yeah.
blank. There's no contention.
Completely agree. She's everything. My favorite character was Rune,
Of
and
course.
I
Great.
have nothing left to say. Like,
Yeah.
they were the best
They're
characters in this
perfect.
book. Their
Yes,
storyline is the best.
I agree. Their storyline is the best. I want more of their storyline. Like, these are our main characters.
Completely agree. What was your favorite scene?
Okay, we did already touch on this. The one where she announces her mating to Hunt at Celestina and Ephraim's like big mating party was by far like one of the best scenes to me because the Autumn King was gagged, Cormac was gagged, Celestina was gagged, the Asteria was gagged. Everybody was just like, congrats.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cormac was so
Yeah,
pissed.
because he was like, you know that this engagement was the whole cover as to why I'm coming to this godforsaken city. But
Literally. That's so good.
yeah, I
I
love
was I was worried about that, like, how is she going to be able to pull this off? And, like, she just did it.
no, yeah, she just was like, yeah, we're just gonna tell him, which was super smart of her. I always kind of underestimate Bryce, but she's really with the shits. Like she might not be playing perfect princess, but she knows the rules well enough to use them to her advantage. So I commend her for that. I have a couple of honorable mentions though. Um, the one where Apollyon comes to Hunt in some sort of dreamlike state was sickening.
Mhm, love that.
That was really cool and scary. And then the other one was just like the entire thing with the mystics. Less about the scene, more about just like the concept of the mystics.
Yeah.
Genius. Totally genius. Such a cool concept. They're just like floating in these things and then like their minds are floating through the cosmos. They can kind of wander wherever they want.
It sets you up to be able to get any information that's not able to be gleaned from their, like, internet. Just go to the Mystics. The scene itself was really
So
scary,
scary.
but I agree with you. I really love the concept, and hopefully that will come back into
Yeah.
play
Yeah, hopefully
again
so.
later.
What about you? Fave scene.
Um, just all of the Rune and Lydia, like, no surprise. I again, they're the best. They're my favorites. Loved when, I already said this, but afterward when, like, Lydia's like, "I know who you are," and she's like, "Rune," and he, like, reveals himself to her, like, fully shows himself. Just it's the
Wasn't he
sweetest.
naked?
He was naked. We won't rehash
um
the physical aspects of it, but then obviously the ending is so iconic. It's, like, the biggest slay in all of the book world, all of
biggest
the
slay.
romantasy world, so
Do you want to like do a very I know we talked about the crossover for a little bit too long earlier, but for those of you who didn't want the spoiler from Throne of Glass, like the crossover at the end to me was this is my Roman Empire. Like I could not stop thinking about it since I read it. Like I didn't know what was going to happen.
no, literally, like, once I read so I think you and I had the same experience where we had kind of gleaned that this was in Prithian before Rhys announces himself,
Yes.
um, but I literally was having to read, like, covering up each line because
Yes, you're going to ruin it for yourself.
yes, like, literally my eyes are such
Oh my
little
god.
betrayers.
I know, same.
So, anyway, it was everything, but once I read, like, "My name is Rhysand," or whatever the last line is, I had to, like, take a sec like, I literally couldn't read the epilogue, I think it's, like, 2 pages. I couldn't
No.
read it yet because my mind was absolutely reeling.
It was crazy, and the tip off to me was whenever someone who looked like Fury walked in, I was like, "That's Amryn. I know that's Amryn." But whenever she first hit the ground, it was like a lush green grass and a river, and, like, my mind started, like, wanting it to be the river house, but I was like, "No fucking way." But then the fact that we've had to sit with this information for years, almost 2
Crazy.
years, I've been dying.
Yeah.
So, do you think the crossover is gonna be, like, the whole next book, or do you think it's gonna be, like, quick she figures out what she needs to figure out and go back to hell, or, like, what do you think?
So, Sarah J. Maas says that it's gonna be quick, and I prefer that. Like, I want it to be Bryce goes, she chit chats with him. This is something I meant to say earlier, but the Asteri say that the way that they like got here was using the horn and another Fey object. It has to be the harp because, and I think that that is how Bryce is going to get back
It has to be the harp.
because that's what they say in Akatar. Like if you pluck the 26th string, or like you can even
Travel
jump.
between worlds.
Yes, I genuinely think that that's what it is, but I think that the crossover will be Bryce goes, they help her. The language barrier is gonna be really.
That kinda threw me for a loop. Amryn understanding it was one thing. When Reese started speaking it, I was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe, like, she's conversing with the High Lord.
Imagine,
She's gonna fall
like,
in love in 2 seconds."
except for he looks just like her brothers. Like
Oh
she
my god,
literally
I
says,
forgot about I
"Rune."
forgot about that. Maybe she won't, but how crazy, and this makes sense with Rune being like, this whole Starborn thing is so, like, related to the, like, Night Court heritage. I'm obsessed. I cannot wait to see how it all pans out. But I don't want it to be super short. I really want to like have her interact with Nesta and have like her Nesta cookie.
Agree, but I also think Nessa might eat her up just a little bit.
Oh, she wouldn't stand a motherfucking chance if they actually got into a fight, but I do think that like their personalities are really similar. So after
Agree.
their initial fallout, they would get along great.
I completely agree. They need to like be catty for a second, and then once they realize that they're the same,
It'll be
yeah,
yeah, it's over for everyone else.
all
So like
good,
everyone
all
else is
good.
fucked.
So the sword and the dagger are reunited. Truth teller, obviously,
Obviously.
and the star sword, and so shall our people be. And I can't wait.
I can't wait to figure out what that means.
Absolutely. Oh, one last thing about the crossover. I love that like Bryce lands and she can just tell that Nesta is like yelling at Cassie and she don't know what she's
She's
saying.
like, there's some sort of bickering going on
Yes.
here.
Love
And
it. Love it.
what I want from the next ACOTAR is this whole thing from every single point of view.
Yes. What was Azriel
We're all gonna walk in and
doing?
see this bitch in some hot pink shoes.
Literally.
What she probably has
Literally.
on acrylic. She probably has a hoops in.
The hoop earrings.
Everyone's like trying to steal them off of her.
I love I love picturing that, especially like Bryce is gonna go break into the Asteri's palace and she's like, I gotta put my hoops
I know,
in.
I know.
And a fresh set.
And she's like clicking on her phone, and they're like, "What the
You
fuck
think
is
she
going
has
on?"
her phone?
I don't
She
know,
has
but
to,
like,
right?
surely. I mean, she's surely. I don't know.
Okay. We'll see what happens. Anyway, okay, let's talk some shit. So what was your least favorite scene?
The bone quarter. That was chilling. It didn't feel right. It felt like icky. Ugh, like whenever they were seeing like the dogs or I don't know what they're called. Ew. And, and he was just like telling them all this shit about the afterlife and the hysteria, and they're like, "Huh? Why are you just like telling us this?" And they're like, "Oh, we're dying
Well,
here."
exactly, exactly. No, I
Ugh.
completely agree. That was also my least favorite scene, and I can't really even like explain why. I hated reading it. Whenever I like got to it, I was like, I think I have to go like put my laundry away like right now.
Yeah, I can't
I
do this
I
right in a
didn't
second.
want to do it. Obviously we got through, but yeah, I don't like that. But it's like I guess it doesn't matter that Bryce traded her spot in the bone quarter for Danica's because they all turn into second light anyway. So
That pisses me the fuck off. That's actually one of the reasons why I really didn't like that scene is finding out that everything that she did to put her like soul on the line was for nothing, which we kind of knew was for nothing whenever Danica decided, I'm gonna help you make the drop. But to find out that it was just so that she could be used as second light was kind of fucked up. Um, a runner up for least favorite scene, which we already hashed out, but Rune locking out Lydia at the end, like, broke my heart.
Agree. Imagine, like, if
This
I'm
is
Lydia,
her
I'm panicked.
this is her she's so panicked, this is her only vulnerability,
Mhm.
like, only one, and yeah, he's just, like, not participating in, like, the "let me help you" thing.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree. Um, okay, what is one thing about the plot or the book in general that you hated or would change?
Um, so one thing that I really don't like that she does a lot is, like, she will we have all these fae and all the well, Veneer that are all hanging out. There's, like, Hunt, Bryce, Rune, they're all, like,
Mhm.
big and bad in their own little way. She will not let us forget that they're all big and bad. Like,
Mm.
it's like, "Oh, he gave him a stare that reminded him why he's, like, the captain of intelligence," for, we're talking about Therian.
Right.
Let's get a grip, like and then it'll be like there was one that was like Flynn had said something to someone in a voice that most people only hear before they die. I'm like, "Who was Flynn murdered?"
Please.
Please. He plays video games at a frat house 24/7.
Literally, like, I'm pretty sure he just, like, has aux duty and
Yeah.
then
Like, he's only killing people at, like, the command of other people.
right. Completely agree. We don't need to be reminded, like, we know. We know because we are 1,600 pages into
Wait,
this
you don't
series.
know that when Hunt gets mad, he puts on the face of the Umbra Mortis? We got it.
Like, we know Bryce is the Starborn Princess, like, we got it, and it's funny because, like, we've already started into the next book, and you had said this the first time we recorded, and I hadn't noticed it myself, but I noticed it's in the 3rd book
Oh, yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and I wanna say it was, like, uh, that reminded him that he was talking to the leader of the Triari or, like, whatever it is, it's like,
Shut up.
but I already remembered that, so
Yeah. Um, why are y'all forgetting so much? Like, are you guys okay?
yeah.
So what about you? Let's talk
Um,
about what you would change.
mine is still just, like, the cringy shit, and the worst one to me is when Cormac comes to Bryce, like, at her work, and she says, "If you're looking for how not to be an asshole, it's between buy loser and get the fuck out."
Oh my god.
It's so cringe. It like, that's not funny to me. It's
No, it's definitely cringe, and there's a bunch of scenes like that, like, whenever she talks to the Autumn King too, and she tries to be, like, cool and badass, but it makes her look just like a child, kinda, especially to her dad, maybe not to Cormac, I don't really care what Cormac thinks, but
agree, agree. There was some other ones that were pretty bad, like, so, like, Therian had purchased something, and she said that it cost him, quote, "an arm and a fin." And then another time, she's talking about Juniper, like, going up against another dancer, and she says that they went hoof to toe.
okay,
And I
got
just
in.
like,
She
you
is hoofed, we
yeah,
got
like,
it.
you really don't have to be so literal because, again, we're 1,600 pages into this
Yeah,
series, like,
we
we
know.
know.
I agree with that. On the topic of corny shit, the remember we talked about this last time. She'll change her name in her phone randomly. Okay, well, let me know while I was. So me and my husband read books in bed before we go to sleep together. And one day he finished his chapter before me and closed his book and like just kind of like peered over at my book. And guess what page I was on? Bryce sucks my dick like a champ.
That one's so bad
And he just is like, "What are you reading?" Like, this just seems like a little amateur.
because it
It is.
is.
He said, "Is the whole book like this?" And then it said something about, like, even the Underking doesn't fuck with something, something, something. And he was like, "What are you reading?"
It's
I'm
it's
like,
a
"So
lot.
this is" yeah, this is, like, a little elementary as far as the explanations of things and the amount of profanity and just the corn dogs are through the roof.
And that is for that reason, Crescent City is my least favorite series because I don't want that in my fantasy books. Put it in the rom-coms or I mean, don't, but, I'm okay with it in the rom-coms. Please don't put that in my fantasy. I did have one more that was, like, so bad. It's when Ethan has, like, first come to live with Bryce and Hunt, and they decide that they're not going to wait to solstice to have sex, and, but they, like, are messing around in her room, and Ethan, like, can hear. So then the next day, I think Rune invites him to come live with them at their house, and Bryce says, "Sorry for sexiling you, Ethan."
It's just not good. It's just not good literature at this point.
And I just don't need it. Like, you can be quippy without being literally so fucking cringe.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. Um, I agree. I just have to accept the fact this is how the 3rd book is gonna be and the 4th book and just move on with my life. Just take it for what it is. Because the storyline is there, so we're just gonna
I agree.
Do you have any hot takes?
Yeah, so I have 2 actually. The first one is that you can't really say that the Asteri's logic for, like, just wanting to be alive is not there. Like, they just need to eat.
Like, they didn't, like, choose their sustenance.
Right, exactly.
It's
So, like,
just how it happened.
right, just jumping world to world. Maybe it's kinda like a bonus that they get to be the leaders of the world, but, like, if I was hungry,
But no, I totally agree with you on that front, but must they be the leaders of the world?
that's where the logic starts to crumble a little bit, but, like, okay, I'm not, like, mad at them for simply wanting to eat and not die, you know? Okay, that's the first one. The second one is that I genuinely wish that Danica would have been the main character.
1,000%.
I know we already said, like, would love to have a book from her POV, but I genuinely think that you could write this story, her finding out about everything, Danica main character, and I think because there is such a big like, it is such a group project, you can still bring Bryce into it. You can make Danica Starborn, or I don't know, I think there's still a way to write this story from Danica's point of view, um, because I'm over the whodunit, I'm over trying to figure out what happened, and I like Danica better than Bryce.
I too like Danica better than Bryce. I do wonder, people who are Bryce girlies, not just in the sense of Crescent City, but people who consume all of Sarah J. Maas's material and decide that they're the people that they relate to the most are in Crescent City and they like love Bryce as a main character more than anyone else. Why?
Please let us know because, like, are you sure you read about Nesta?
Did you read the scene with Manon?
Like, are you
Any scene?
sure? Are you sure? Did you meet Feyre? Did you meet Moore?
Have you heard of the 13?
Please. I'm so sorry, but, like, Bryce is not even probably in my top 5.
There's no way. Like Asterin.
Caltaine is literally the queen of my heart, like
Like how? Oh my god, I do not understand. But anyway, that's for you guys to figure out on your own. Like that you're paying for therapy for whatever reason you're paying for therapy, and it's not my business. Um,
okay,
so
did you have any hot
yeah.
takes?
Um, and I did touch on this earlier. I can't keep my mouth shut about my opinion. So the whole plot with Sophie and Emil feels like it is for nothing.
Mhm.
Why did we spend so much time searching for this little boy who is human and like harboring him and stuff? There was so much time spent on that.
Yes,
And I
and for
get
what?
that. I feel like it was for Bryce to say, like, the humans matter to me and the things that matter to, like, because she's always pointing that out, like, humans matter, should matter. And I totally agree. But going to the links that we have gone, but I don't know if it was because she thought that people would find him, try to use him, realize that he's not powerful and then kill him. I don't really know. I'm assuming that's where it came from. But it just we spent so it's the same thing with the synth. The amount of time we spent worried about him.
That is the whole introduction to the book, like, that is
Yeah.
the first scene that brings you to the entire story, and it is kinda like for naught, like, he gets shipped off and then
Yeah. Then nothing. And I wanted the Thunderbird shit to come into play because it feels so important. The Asteri like hunted them
Mhm.
down, made sure that they went into extinct, and I want to know first of all why.
Yep.
We never got to hear why,
Mhm.
and if that was the last one, why is she dead?
Completely agree. I feel like you could write this story same beginning. I don't know why you would say Sophie went into the camp, but maybe, like, Sophie just escapes her own camp. Fast forward to they're trying to escape, the Hind gets her, the Hind drowns her, but Sophie gets out of the shackles, and you pick up from there, or then they have to go their mission is to find Sophie, not to find Emil. Like, I feel like you can leave him out of it, bring Sophie into it, like
Yeah, I would have liked the plot more if Sophie was still alive. I
Mhm.
don't care about Emil at all,
Yeah.
and yeah, like
Agree.
then Cormac could have his boo thing.
Agree.
They could both be alive, but whatever.
Agree.
That's what I would which I guess I could have put that under what I would change.
Okay.
But, my other hot take was again, we talked about this, like, Therion's fucked up for what he does to the River Queen's daughter. I'm not even meaning, like, the scene that we talked about, but just the 10 years of stringing her along and pretending like he's gonna marry her. Of course, she knows that he's not going to. But, like, what's she gonna do? Say, "Hey, when are you ready to end our engagement?" Because she
Mhm.
knows that I feel like she did him a solid in just staying in the engagement because she knew that her mom was gonna flip her lid.
Exactly, and like she says when Therian goes to break it off, like, "I knew, like, you could have just told me," which clearly he couldn't have because, like, she's such a
No.
little baby
Yeah.
about
I'm
it.
not saying I, like, enjoy her at all,
Right.
but it's fucked up what he did.
I completely agree, like, I actually feel like Therian it's like his heart is in the right place with things, but the execution is so
So
poor.
off. Yeah.
Um, just how he got engaged to her to begin with, just I don't know, he really I'm hoping that we get a lot of growth for Therian in the next book, and hopefully he will find his path.
I hope so as well. Okay, so overall thoughts on the book.
Okay, I gave this 4.5 stars. I enjoyed this book so much better than the first book, which in itself I believe is a hot take because people tend to like the first book more, and
Really?
I simply, like, I can't relate. I don't
No, I'm such a second book girl. When it comes to these 2, like, definitely second book.
100%, and, like, we know this with Sarah J. Maas, like, Akamath is better than
Yes.
ACOTAR.
Yeah.
Um, I liked it so much better. Again, I really think that Bryce needs to have more respect for Hunt, but nevertheless, I really liked getting multiple points of view. I liked that we got so much from Rune, and I don't typically like a multi POV. I'm really like a single first person POV girl. I loved it in this instance because they're like all over the place.
Yes. It, like,
Um,
kinda it's oh my god, I keep hitting my mic. Um, it's executed really well as far as, like, the multiple
mhm, mhm, I agree. And then obviously like the crossover is everything.
God, like, how could you like the first book better whenever this is how this book ends?
Exactly. I agree. And like the plot is so thick in this book. Not that it's not in the first book, but I feel like the first book you spend the majority of it being so fucking confused.
So yeah, in this book, like, I don't even worry about, like, getting mixed up
Exactly.
emotionally in certain things until they actually pan out. You,
Exactly.
like, learn your
So,
lesson.
yes. So, what about you? And then we'll do, Chili's.
So I also gave it 4.5 stars. I agree. I enjoyed it so much more. Um, I have already discussed all my notes on the book, so I don't have much else to say in that regard. But the way I'm like so ready to get to the end of this whole series and see how it all pans
Same.
out.
Same.
I don't know how long it's going to take her to write the fourth one, and I don't even want to think about it, honestly. But she did just sign for like 7 more books with Bloomsbury.
Yes. So, and I'm pretty sure she said there's going to be 3 more ACOTARs, and I think even another novella from
Praise God.
ACOTAR. But like,
Praise God.
Ashlyn, we're gonna literally be like in our 40s
I don't
when
care. What else am I going to be doing?
me either.
Um, so yeah, I'm just excited to like this got the ball rolling because I feel like at the end of Crescent City 1, it's all happy, hunky dory, whatever, and this is like nope,
Yeah.
we're like picking back up.
Yep.
So as far as chilies go, I gave it 2.
Mm.
It's good. It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Um, my only beef with the chilies that I did get, um, it's on par with the rest of the book, like super corny
Mm.
and kind of confusing. Like I did not enjoy the I'm still fucking mad at you, but let's have makeup sex at my work.
No.
Like, did Tessa Bailey write that?
Literally. Didn't love it, and I
No.
also don't like Hunt is, like, pretty vocal
Wh-
when
Strange time to decide that you're gonna have a line.
like, strange time to speak, when you literally never say anything or not anything worthwhile, but, like, in the bed, I don't know, don't love that.
Yeah,
It's just it's giving rom-com again, like,
I don't want that.
I don't want pornographic dialogue, that's what puts me off.
Okay, yeah, that's a great way to put it. Sorry, if you were watching on YouTube, I have had the biggest struggle with getting my necklaces unhooked. Like they have been, I can't wear these together anymore. But yes, like the pornography is totally fine to me, but it's whenever it gets kind of over the top as far as like dialogue or like really crazy sex,
Yep,
I'm just like not into it.
yep.
Um, maybe I'm vanilla, and that's totally fine with me.
Right.
Like I don't give a fuck.
Completely agree. The other part, I also gave it 2 chilies, but the other part that bugged me was literally it's like we're in the midst of the plot and they're like, Bryce has been really going through it. Like she's so stressed that they had to fuck in the shower last night. And I'm like, I'm
Like
sorry.
out of nowhere, she just, like, sprinkles that
I'm
in.
like flipping the page back and forth, like, did I miss something? It just she put it in there out of nowhere, and I don't necessarily need that. Like, I feel like she did it great in Silver Flames. She said a lot like, "Okay, it's been like 3 weeks." A lot of those have been like staying like Cassian and Nesta were back and forth in each other's bedrooms every night, and you get the hint.
Yes, yeah. There's nothing that is, like, an innuendo in this book. She's like, "They fucked." She's like, "Therian knew that the leopard shifter enjoyed her time because she came twice." Like, don't need that. You could just say that he had a rendezvous with I mean, we're already mad at him enough anyways.
Right.
Now we need to know the details of his sexual encounter.
We don't. Like, yeah, if I wanted to read pornographic dialogue, I would read a rom-com that I'm reading it for
For
porn,
that.
but I'm not. So I'm reading this for the plot and I want there to be sex and I want it to be good, but I want it to be sweet and hot,
It can be hot and sweet.
but not you fucking like my cock, baby. Like,
Like,
don't.
disgusting. Also, the amount of times this might only be twice, but he's like, "Look at you." I'm like, "Ha."
Babe, I can't look at myself. I'll get a double chin.
No, I don't want that angle.
I agree. It's
Like, I
just
don't know.
the
Something
dia
about it.
the dialogue is just too much, but overall, love this story, love the setup to move us into, hopefully, Prithian,
Hope to God, yeah.
and I cannot wait to be reunited with the ACOTAR people. I'm praying to God that this will hold us over until we get a new ACOTAR book.
I hope so too, but I hope that's not very long. Like, I need it to be in 2024.
100%.
Like, SJ, step your pussy up. I need it to be by Christmas. Come on.
A Christmas miracle. That's what we need.
So we need I just need her to, like, really pull out of thin air. Um, so yeah, that's our time. You know that our next book is gonna be, Crescent City 3, and then after that, we will discuss, kind of where we wanna move on from there. Katie has been reading this year, so maybe she does something that we could review for you guys. We do have a couple of ideas for, the April book, but we're gonna have to kinda decide
Yeah.
between a few. But if you have any recommendations, you can email us at theclubgirlies@gmail.com, or you can just send us an Instagram DM. Honestly, that's a lot easier. We are at Girlies of the Club. Um, Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. We are available as a podcast anywhere you get your podcast, and we are also available on YouTube now. So if you're on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. We are so thankful to have you guys here, and wrapping up our SJM journey with us. Like I said, if you have any recommendations, we're totally open to anything except for like Haunting Adeline, which I know Katie already read, but I will not be doing that.
Beautifully said. All right, guys. Well, we will see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.